Join me as I dive into the history books to rank the worst presidents in U.S. history. The importance of presidential leadership cannot be overstated. The decisions made by the commander-in-chief have far-reaching consequences that can affect generations to come. While many presidents have left a lasting legacy, some have made choices that have sparked controversy and debate. Today, we're going to explore those presidential legacies that have been marred by controversy and failure. When we think of presidential greatness, we often consider leaders like Abraham Lincoln or George Washington. However, not all presidents have been so fortunate. Some have made decisions that have led to devastating consequences, leaving their mark on history in a far more negative light. As we delve into the world of presidential failures, it's essential to understand the complexities of their decisions and the context in which they were made. The role of a president is multifaceted, and their decisions can have a profound impact on domestic and foreign policy. While some presidents have risen to the challenge, others have fallen short, often with disastrous results. As we examine the worst presidents in U.S. history, we'll explore the criteria that define a failed presidency, from economic collapse to foreign policy disasters. By understanding these presidencies, we can learn valuable lessons about the importance of informed decision-making and the need for responsible leadership. So, let's get started on this journey through the history books and uncover the truth about the worst presidents in U.S. history. When it comes to determining the worst presidents, there are several factors to consider. One of the most critical is their leadership style and ability to make tough decisions. Another key factor is their policy decisions and how they affected the economy, foreign relations, and domestic policy. We'll also be looking at their moral character and how it influenced their presidency. Andrew Johnson, for example, is often regarded as one of the worst presidents due to his weak leadership and inability to handle the aftermath of the Civil War. His presidency was marked by a series of poor decisions, including his handling of Reconstruction, which ultimately led to his impeachment. Another factor that plays a significant role in determining a president's legacy is their foreign policy decisions. One president who made a series of catastrophic foreign policy decisions is James Buchanan, who failed to take a strong stance against the secession of Southern states. His inaction led to the outbreak of the Civil War, a conflict that would claim the lives of hundreds of thousands of Americans. Warren G. Harding, known for his corrupt administration, is another president who made the list. His presidency was marked by scandals, including the Teapot Dome scandal, which led to the resignation of several high-ranking officials. Herbert Hoover's presidency was also marred by his failed economic policies, which worsened the Great Depression. His inability to respond effectively to the crisis led to widespread suffering and ultimately cost him the election. Finally, there's Franklin Pierce, who signed the Kansas-Nebraska Act, a decision that would lead to the bloody conflict known as Bleeding Kansas. His presidency was marked by a series of poor decisions, including his inability to address the issue of slavery, which ultimately led to the division of the country. Andrew Johnson's presidency was also marked by his vetoes of key Reconstruction legislation, which ultimately led to his impeachment. His leadership style was authoritarian, and he often clashed with Congress, leading to a series of political battles that would define his presidency. James Buchanan's presidency was also marked by his inability to take a strong stance against the secession of Southern states. His decision to not intervene in the secession of South Carolina ultimately led to the outbreak of the Civil War. Warren G. Harding's presidency was marked by corruption and scandals, including the Teapot Dome scandal, which led to the resignation of several high-ranking officials. His administration was also known for its nepotism, with several family members holding key positions in government. Herbert Hoover's presidency was marked by his failed economic policies, which worsened the Great Depression. His inability to respond effectively to the crisis led to widespread suffering and ultimately cost him the election. Franklin Pierce's presidency was marked by his signing of the Kansas-Nebraska Act, a decision that would lead to the bloody conflict known as Bleeding Kansas. His presidency was also marked by his inability to address the issue of slavery, which ultimately led to the division of the country. The top 3 worst presidents in U.S. history are a special category of failed leaders. These presidents made decisions that had far-reaching consequences, often devastating the country and its people. Coming in at number 3 is Andrew Johnson, whose presidency was marked by his weak leadership and inability to handle the aftermath of the Civil War. His vetoes of key Reconstruction legislation ultimately led to his impeachment, making him one of the most failed presidents in U.S. history. At number 2 is James Buchanan, whose presidency was marked by his inability to take a strong stance against the secession of Southern states. His decision not to intervene in the secession of South Carolina ultimately led to the outbreak of the Civil War, a conflict that would claim the lives of hundreds of thousands of Americans. And finally, at number 1 is Warren G. Harding, whose presidency was marked by corruption and scandals, including the Teapot Dome scandal. His administration was also known for its nepotism, with several family members holding key positions in government. The public's perception of these presidents has changed over time, with some being viewed more favorably than others. Andrew Johnson, for example, was initially viewed as a hero for his role in the Civil War, but his subsequent presidency revealed his true character. James Buchanan, on the other hand, was widely criticized during his presidency, with many regarding him as one of the worst presidents in U.S. history. His legacy has only grown more tarnished with time, with many historians regarding him as one of the most failed presidents. Warren G. Harding's legacy was also tarnished by the scandals that marked his presidency. However, his charismatic personality and charming smile have led some to view him more favorably than others. Franklin Pierce, too, has been viewed more favorably over time, with some historians regarding him as a tragic figure who was unable to address the issue of slavery. Herbert Hoover's legacy, on the other hand, has remained largely unchanged, with most historians regarding him as one of the worst presidents due to his failed economic policies. In conclusion, the lessons we can learn from these failed presidencies are invaluable. They serve as a reminder of the importance of informed decision-making, responsible leadership, and the need for accountability in government. As we reflect on these presidencies, we're reminded of the importance of holding our leaders accountable for their actions. By doing so, we can ensure that the mistakes of the past are not repeated, and that our country continues to move forward. So, what do you think about these worst presidents in U.S. history? Do you agree with my ranking, or do you think there are other presidents who deserve to be on the list? Let me know in the comments below, and be sure to subscribe to my channel for more videos on presidential achievements and failures. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.